Friday because I recall.
You saw he didn't practice.
I saw he didn't practice after Saturday. I remembered, but I didn't know it Friday.
I appreciate you not asking me.
Just because I didn't see it.
I didn't know, though, that he wasn't going to play.
Oh, you didn't?
Until game time.
I guess he was okay today.
He's doing better. We drained him. So he's doing better today. He's not out of the woods. He's got to have it recurring until we get it totally under control. But he's a tough kid. Do I expect him to play? I always expect him to play.
Keith, is it a specific injury or is it just swelling?
It's from, he's had multiple surgeries on that knee, and he's had surgery on the other knee. So it's something he's going to have to battle through.
It's just wear and tear after.
Yeah, he's got a little issue in there, but we think we can get through the season with it.
It's the right one?
It's the left one, I think.
It's the left knee. The left knee is the one he had taped. So.
See, I don't know much, do I?
You know more than I do.
When it comes to managing guys and juice, especially when you have an injury like Sincere's, just how do you try to manage that with the amount of guys you have? It's kind of been up and down when you've managed that.
Well, I thought it hurt us at the end of the game. I mean, I think we were noticeably more tired than they were. I thought we didn't have great energy. We made a couple bad plays that probably we wouldn't have made if we weren't as tired. That's the most Tavian's played all year, in fairness to him, against full court pressure the whole game. And then I didn't think. I think not having Rotroff hurt us too, because it was another big body that we could have gone to. So, but we can't listen. That's the nature of this business. Richmond's going through the same thing. A lot of people go through it. You just got to figure out ways to win.
How was Rhode Island different with the new coach this year?
Not much. I mean, same winning tradition. I think that's the thing that I try to tell our guys is that when you talk about St. Louis, VCU, Rhode Island in succession, you're playing against the program, not necessarily the team. So those teams have won a lot of games throughout the years. And so Rhode Island has winning mentality based on what they've done over the last couple of years, as does VCU and St. Louis. St. Louis not so much recent, but they've had very good teams.
What stands out to you about Rhodey and that Cyril Inchby, the physical guy?
Well, they start big and strong. And much like VCU and St. Louis, when they make threes, they're very dangerous. When they don't, they're a little bit more pedestrian. And much like St. Louis and VCU, we got to keep them out of the paint, then we have to rebound. Like we just haven't rebounded. We have to do better. I think a lot of that's energy.
Another Rhode Island player in Downton's got another kid that's a gritty kid, doesn't make too many mistakes with the ball. How do you prepare for a kid like that?
Well, he's high level. So, when Fats Russell and Doughton shoot the ball in, they're as good as anybody in the league. And when they don't, like anybody, they struggle. Now, they'll still be in the game, but they'll struggle. I think that's the most noticeable thing, I think, in the league this year is if you look at that three-point shooting percentages, especially non-league and conference, you'll see that nobody's really shooting the ball well. So eventually the team that shoots the ball in is going to come out of this thing alive.
Do you have a sense that your guys are becoming better shooters as the season progresses?
We've spent more time. I think we're playing a little bit better together, which means more open shots, which means more a better percentage. And I think, when you play Tavian and Sincere, you're getting about 10, 11 assists, 12 assists out of them, which means more open shots. So I think that's the one thing that Tavian gives you is another ball-handling breakdown guard, right? Which we haven't really had out there. Frank and Eric are more playing off of those guys. They're not going to break you down and get shots for other people.
Tavian likes to shoot the three, I noticed Wednesday night.
He only shoots it when it's in his hands. Think about that one. Never saw one he didn't like.
That's right.
Right? Which, that's a double-edged sword, but it's just like Steph Curry. Are those good shots or bad shots? He thinks they're good shots, so when he thinks they're good shots, they go in when you're a good shooter. So, sometimes you got to live with some of Tavians.
Zach Snyder's high school coach has a sign in his office that says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's a good point, but those bad shots can get you beat too. That's the uniqueness about it. But if you see these teams that make runs into the NCAA tournament, usually they shoot the ball pretty good.
Gavin, good for him to come off, talking about your own scouting report last time. That's what you saw from him. I take it. First half, anyway.
So arrogant Keith Dambrot, right, always tells my guys, most of the time when I tell you something, I'm right. Not all the time, but I'd say 95, 99% of the time I'm right, so don't argue with me. So I told you guys, right, that I thought Gavin Bizot was a good player, right? I've said it all along, right? And he's not anywhere near close to being championship quality yet, but he has one trait that you can't teach, and that is he puts that thing in the basket. And he shoots, and he puts it in a variety of ways. Long range, he's pretty good with the ball. He's just inexperienced. And sometimes he can't guard me, but we'll have to teach him that. But he's a good kid. He hung in there. He's getting what he deserves.
Keith, did VCU do anything in particular to slow down Mike Hughes and Marcus Weathers, or was it just an off night for them?
VCU fought it in a little bit harder. You know, they did a better job of going to work early to keep it out of his hands. I didn't think he had it really. You know, he just looked a little tired.
Mike?
You know, yeah, Mike Hughes. And Marcus just had a rough night. I mean, he got to the rim a couple times and he missed 4 free throws. So you figure he missed 2 layups and 4 free throws. That's 4, 8. And he had 4. He would have had 12 his normal night. He just didn't make. I don't think they did anything particular.
When you self-evaluate after the game these two teams had last year, the buzzer beater, just how much did you learn from that game and how much have you channeled from that game into this season with this group?
Well, I thought we caught them on a night where they were, maybe the first 12 minutes they were disinterested, right? And we played pretty good. We did a good job of managing tempo, making them play through the clock, played really good defensively. I think this team is not playing as good defensively as our team did last year in stretches, and that's something we're going to have to do if we're going to take the next step. And so I've been on them every day to put more time into it. Part of it again is, you know, making sure we rest guys. Like today we didn't have Lamar; he was sick. So really, you're talking about managing Sin's minutes in practice. No Lamar, right? No Rotroff. So what do we got? About 9 guys, 8 guys. It's a little light, but gotta do what we gotta do. As long as Sincere plays, we'll be okay.
Do you just plan on kind of before every game, while he's struggling with his knee, you just before every game see how he's feeling?
You're talking one of the toughest guys I've ever coached, so my gut is he's going to play every game. And if he could have played the last game, he would have played the last game. That's not to say he can't have a setback, but if he can play, he's going to play. And, you know, people don't understand, like, the importance of having the brains behind the body. I mean, it's a big deal, man. You lose one guy in basketball that's really important. Look at the Lakers. What are they about? What are they about? 5 and 10 or 7 and 14 without him. That one guy's pretty important. It's not like football. You know, if you lose the right guy like Tom Brady, it can be important too, I think. Or Ben Roethlisberger, right? That's a big deal. So look, no excuses, but there's very few teams around America that can withstand losses. Even Duke, right? Without the little point guard, they're a different team. They're probably not national championship quality without the point guard, right? Now they're great, they're gonna win most of them, but they're not quite as good, right? You're quiet.
Just listen.
That's because they're talking so much.
My bad.
Anything else?
I think so.
It's a big game for us, though.
Yeah.
Because Dayton's hard. Like, it'll be hard to go to Dayton. We gotta be ready. If we win this one, then we can let our hair loose down there in Dayton and really get going.
So that's what you do, to let your hair loose.
I think so. Like, I don't know what Dayton's record in that building is, but it's pretty good.
So the guys fell off last year after a pretty good start. Do you have a different sense this year about this team?
I mean, look, the line's small, Jerry. Like, did we fall off or did we play a tougher schedule? We played some good games. Like, we lost some heartbreakers. We lost to Richmond. We lost to St. Bonaventure twice. Rhodey at the buzzer. If those games flip, we really didn't fall off. I know we had a couple bad games. Fordham here was no good. Wasn't great in the conference tournament. We battled a little bit, but didn't. So I don't know if we really fell off or we just didn't win those close games. So I'm trying not to think like that, right? But listen, it could happen. Like there's no magic formula. Like you lose a couple close ones, you kind of lose your edge, you lose your mojo, or you win a couple close ones, you kind of get that edge, that mojo, like George Mason's doing right now, right? And you can.
My point is, does this team have better edge and better mojo than last year?
We've got two things. We can low score. We can score in the low box, right? And Renee Castro's and Taryn are really good players, like really good, but they're not as good a point guard as he is. I'm not saying they're not good players. They're very good players, but they're not as good a point guard as him. So you look at our assist numbers compared to last year, it's not even close with a freshman point guard. Now, that's not to say they're not good, because they are. They both start for us. They're that good, right? But they're not as good at that spot as him. So I think we have some better ingredients, but we have to fight a little harder. And our best guy got to go a little bit. Eric Williams got to go. If Eric Williams starts to play like he did last year, then we could take another jump. It's a big if, right?
You're talking about scoring in low block. You know, Travis Ford came through. He said the one guy that he's seen so far that plays the traditional back to the basket kind of game like Michael is that in the conference to this point.
Yeah,
I guess maybe Santos Silva after. I don't know if he had seen recently.
Yeah, I think they're more roll through, ball screen, roll through, post up guys. Whereas Mike's a true block guy. I think his guy Hassan French is more like Mike than.
Well, that's what you said. The only one that they played against.
Yeah, I think the other two are good players. They just use them a little differently. Langevin was a pure role player last year. He didn't even start, right? They started a big, strong Barry. Right? Barry was his name. But Langevin's he's an unbelievable athlete. And French, unbelievable athlete. And Santos Silva is a big, strong, tough. But I think that's the difference between the good teams in this league and the below average teams, is who has that center. Right? Even though most people in this league win with the perimeter guys, the guys that have the centers. Now, Richmond's the exception, but they lost a lot of their perimeter guys. Had they kept those perimeter guys, they'd be right in the mix of this thing too.
Santos Silva give them a little bit more than you thought last time out.
We didn't do a very good job with him. I mean, we fouled. Just didn't quite. I mean, he's a good, tough, but he can't get 20. If he gets 20, you're going to lose every time. Right? I mean, that's kind of how I see it. Langevin can't get 20. If he gets 12 or 14, we can survive it, but not 20. Fats, Russell, Dowden, they get 20, we're in trouble. The guy that's playing good for him now is Martin. He's making threes, which now they're shooting a little bit better. They do a good job with that. Good? All right, appreciate